working on this line helped me to really find myself, realize that I don't need to be perfect. I don't need to be this image of perfection, because in reality, we're all people who went through things and are now just learning who we are. Because sometimes people take growing up and they see it, oh, you're supposed to know who you are when you go to college. You're supposed to know who you want to be. But the truth is that comes whenever you're ready. And it sucks because sometimes it takes people a lot longer than others, But when you find yourself, that's when you become confident. Because that's when you realize this is who I am. And all those people I thought I was before, like all those versions of myself, that they weren't true to me. But I didn't know that.
What's going on, guys? Welcome to Growing Up Latina. I am your host, Alyi V, and today is a very special day because today I have my best friend on the show. Literally, like, she's been knowing me since I was 13 years old. Give it up for Melissa Rodriguez.
Castro.
Oh, Castro. Yes, you're married. Castro.
Yes.
Are you hyphenated or is it Melissa Castro?
No, it's just Castro.
Castro.
Yes.
Nice. What's going on?
Good. How are you?
Good. All the way from Florida.
Yes.
Oh my God.
I know. It's a big change.
It's a big change. So you grew up in
change.
Brooklyn.
Yes.
Were you born in Brooklyn?
Yes.
Okay. So born in Brooklyn.
Born in Brooklyn.
What part of Brooklyn did you grow up at?
Sunset Park.
Sunset Park. Okay. Remember when I used to stay in your house?
Yes.
We're going to get there.
Yeah, we're
going to get to the story. Okay. So thank you for coming on the show.
Of course.
I'm so excited. So growing up, let's take us through just like the childhood. What is your background? Mom and dad are?
Both Puerto Rican.
Okay.
Second generation.
Second generation.
Second generation? They're both born here.
Yeah.
Okay.
If they were born here.
Yeah.
And their families are there?
Yeah. Yes. Okay, I just want to make sure I got that right. I'm like, wait, am I saying that right?
I do the same thing. Okay, so second generation Puerto Rican.
Yes.
Did you grow up speaking Spanish?
I did not. Spanish.
Okay.
But I'm one of those people that I can't speak Spanish, but there are certain words, like my husband was just laughing at me because when we were packing to come here, he's like, why do you call it a maleta? And I'm like, because it's a maleta. It's not a suitcase. Like, that's just not what you, that's not what comes to mind, like a chancleta. I don't say slippers. I say chancleta.
Wait, so what does he want you to call it?
No, he just thinks it's funny because I don't speak Spanish.
So then you call it?
So he's like, I don't understand how you
just spurred out some words.
You have certain words that you speak in Spanish, but you don't speak Spanish at all. Like, people will speak to me, and I'm like,
Do you understand Spanish?
If you talk very slow.
Okay.
And quick sentences.
Slow and what? Wait.
Like, it can't be a whole long conversation.
Okay.
It has to be like short and sweet. There we go. Short and sweet, I can understand. No problem. Other than that, I'm looking at my husband. What did they say?
So growing up in Brooklyn, what was that environment like? What were your neighbors like? Was it like culturally, like, were there a lot of Puerto Ricans there? Like, what was that like?
So when I was younger, my street was very, like there were a lot of Dominicans. My neighbors upstairs were Dominican. A lot of Puerto Ricans on my block specifically, and especially like in my area. A lot of Mexicans as well. So it was very, I guess, Latino, like, you know.
Yeah.
And then as it grew, it kind of changed a little bit. But there's still a lot of, like, I guess, Latinos in the community. It's just, it's gotten a little different.
Did you go to school, like elementary? Did you go to school in Brooklyn?
I did.
I don't know why I'm asking you this for the first time.
I know. You know what it is? We probably spoke about it, but you just don't remember because it was so long ago.
Yeah.
But yes.
Catholic high school.
No, Catholic elementary school.
A Catholic high school. We went to the same high school.
I know.
That was weird. Yeah.
A Catholic elementary school.
Uh-huh. What was that like?
I loved it, to be honest.
Yeah?
I did. I loved it. I mean, you know, I wasn't super Catholic, but I was an altar girl.
Okay.
And my school, again, like there was a lot of Latinos in my school. So it wasn't weird. It was not like super strict or anything like that. It was just part of my, I didn't see anything, I didn't know anything else. That's the right way to say it. I didn't know anything else. So because I went to a Catholic school from pre-K all the way to 8th grade. So I didn't know anything
so
different.
You didn't even...
I didn't know anything other than
That's
Catholic
interesting.
School. Yeah.
I respect that.
Yeah.
Because I feel like I went to elementary, then I did middle school.
Right.
And that was kind of, and I went to bilingual middle school. Still, my Spanish is not all the way great.
Better than mine.
But I do understand it.
Yeah.
Okay, so now, do you want to get into high school?
Go for it.
Oh my God. Let's take a little cheers. Because you typically, you don't do this. You don't do interviews at all.
No.
So I'm always like forcing you to like reach uncomfortable places in your life.
Definitely the one who makes me do that. Yes. Always.
So high school. Okay, so Talent Unlimited High School was the high school where we met. Now, Talent Unlimited High School is a performing arts high school. I went to school for drama. Your major was?
Vocal.
So you wanted to be a singer?
I did.
And your favorite singer?
Mariah Carey.
I know you love Mariah.
But I love me some Whitney. Like,
okay,
don't get it twisted. They're like right here. They're right here. But Mariah Carey is
Mariah Carey.
Yeah.
So were you like singing growing up? Just like
I had like a bunch of little girl groups that we would put together like in school because I went to school with elementary school with a bunch of girls who could sing like really well. And then Olga.
Yeah.
She has a gorgeous voice and she was, like a sister to me. So we were always in like
So Olga, just for the people who are listening, don't know who Olga is. Who is Olga?
She is another one of my best friends. I've known her since I don't even know how old, to be honest.
Yeah, you guys go way back.
She used to live upstairs from me. Her family, obviously. And we were like sisters. There's no other way to say it. Her and there were 4 of them. But the 2 younger siblings, Lillian and Olga, they're like sisters to me. And I love them.
So you guys had a girl group?
We did.
What was the name of this group?
God, I don't even know because we had so many.
Wait, with the same members? Like you just renamed it or you?
So the thing is, it was always Olga and I.
Okay.
But sometimes like there was a girl who lived around the corner from us. We had her in it one time, but then, I think she moved away or something. And then there was girls in my elementary school who sang really well, who then we add them to it. So yeah, it was like a
Did you decide at any
thing.
point like, okay, let's take this girl group to like
I think
a bigger situation? Let's figure out, or was it just like for fun?
I think it was more for fun. Like we would perform in like the, what are they called? Block parties. We would perform at block parties and stuff. So it was really fun. Like we would actually have rehearsals and stuff like that. So it was a lot of fun.
So when did you make that switch to say, okay, now I really want to go to school for vocal? Like I want to sing. Because there is something that happens in your mind where it's like, I want to take this a bit more serious. I want to study this.
Yeah, I think because I had such a passion for it, I loved it so much. And you know how much I love music.
Yeah.
In general, I mean, music nowadays, I don't know. I have kids, so it's difficult to listen to a lot of the music that's out nowadays. But, I love music. So I think that was where more of my passion was, just music in general. And I didn't want to just go to a random, like your zoned school,
right?
As we call it in New York.
Oh my God, zoned school.
Your zoned school. Yes. Like I didn't want to go to my zoned school. I wanted to go to, a school for something,
What about your parents? Like, how did they react? Because I know my mom was like,
oh no, my parents were super supportive of all that. Yeah. Super, super supportive. My dad used to drive me to school every morning until probably like junior year. He drove me to school every morning.
Nice. And your brother, did he want to be like in the arts and entertainment? What did your brother?
I really can't answer that question. I do not know.
Well, what did he go to school for?
Well, he went to Urban Academy, remember?
Okay.
So he went to the school right in the same building
Yeah.
as ours.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay, so
Yeah.
what was it like, being a vocal major? Because we used to like actually really hang out
Yes.
with a lot of like your vocal group.
But I feel like I hung out with more of the drama kids, like you
Really?
guys and Tanika, and so it was
Tanika
like,
was dance major.
yes. I mean, I also
Okay.
had like the other girls that I hung out with and stuff, but I feel like the people I really, so something that you do know about me
Mm-hmm.
is I'm very, what's the word? I get along with everybody,
Mm-hmm.
but I'm not fully comfortable with everybody.
Like you have your guard up.
Right. I have my
Mhm.
guard up real high. So it's like, yeah, and don't get me wrong, I have so much love for everybody that we went to school with, that we were so cool with.
Yeah.
But not everybody you keep in touch with
Mm-hmm.
after school. That's kind of what happens when you graduate. That makes me a little sad, not gonna lie. Like there's some people that I'm like, oh man, I wish I would have kept in touch with that person.
Yeah.
But I'm really terrible at that.
Did you go to the high school reunion at all?
I wanted to go.
I'm like, wait, I just
wanted
want to see
go.
like where did we miss?
Yeah,
Okay.
no, I feel like I wanted to go, and I
Uh-huh.
had asked you if you were gonna go, but you couldn't for some reason, and that's what I mean. I was
Yeah.
like, I'm not trying to be there by myself,
Yeah.
so I'd rather not. I hope they have another one at some point,
I hope
because I think
so.
it would be really nice, to
Yeah.
see everybody again. You always see those movies of these people, these
Going
adults
back.
doing it, and it'd be fun.
What did we meet freshman year? Was it freshman
Yes.
year? Do you remember how we met?
I do.
You do?
I do.
Please tell me, because I don't.
Hilarious.
Okay.
Jaylene introduced us.
Okay.
She introduced us. I don't remember how,
okay,
but
yeah.
but she knew you somehow, and her and I were cool,
Mm-hmm.
and she was like, "Oh, I think you guys would get along so great." It was kind of like a matchup.
Yeah.
It was literally like a matchup.
Yeah.
It was like, "Hey, I think you guys would be really cool."
Yeah.
And we met, we hung out, and like I said, I have my guard up, but there's certain people that when I meet them, I'm like, "Oh, you're okay.
Mm-hmm.
I like your vibe." Like,
Yeah.
I mean, that's the thing so many people say now, but like I've always been I go based on vibes.
Right.
So, yeah.
And then so you and I hung out. We did almost like everything together, went to every school
Everything.
party.
Yes.
Some of the most embarrassing moments we shared together.
My God, yeah.
Like too many to share right now. But
Way too many.
do you remember, I think it was, what party we went? Tacky Day or something like that. Do you remember Tacky Day? Oh my God.
You need to give me a little more context.
I just have this photo. I thought about it literally right now. I have this photo of us. It's me, you, Mannix, Tanika.
I think I do remember that. And Michelle.
And Michelle.
And Jessica.
Don't know who Jessica is.
Jessica, Michelle, and Richard.
I know Richard.
The three of...
I don't know who.
All right, that's fine.
Oh my God, I'm sorry about Jessica.
No,
I'm like, oh my God.
I'm saying like...
Imagine if Jessica hears this. She's gonna be like, you don't know who I am? Oh my God.
But yes, I remember that picture now. I remember that.
I remember that. I remember when I broke my heel.
That's a good story. That is a good story.
Mm-hmm. So just to provide context, when I was in high school, I always loved dressing up.
Loved it more than anything.
Yeah, I just loved dressing up. And so I would go to high school with not a JanSport book bag.
Nope.
I would actually go to high school with like a briefcase and a purse.
And a blazer.
And a blazer and heels. And slacks.
And slacks.
And slacks
Yes.
at high school.
Yes.
And Melissa was wearing Jordans.
I was.
And you had them in all the new releases.
I did. I had a lot of Jordans.
Yeah,
I was a very big tomboy.
Yes.
I still am, but it's a little better now. But
yeah. Yeah. And then, so one day they were doing like a fire drill of some sort.
Oh, yes.
They were doing a fire drill.
Yes.
And we all had to like rush down the stairs.
Run down the stairs.
So I'm running with my Kenneth Cole shoes. And I back then I wore like a lot of hand-me-downs. So I had an older sister who just like gave everything.
Yep.
And she had a corporate job. So I was just wearing slacks and heels. And we run down the stairs. And
Yep.
the heel broke. Like it's a fire drill. We're like running down the steps.
Yep.
And the heel breaks.
Yes.
And then what happens?
I will never forget the way you were walking.
Yes. And then you have to tell the story. What happened? Because I remember.
And there was a children's place 2 blocks away from our school. And I'm like, I can't let you walk around like limping, looking like a crazy person. So we don't really have a lot of time. Let's go to the children's place and buy you some flip-flops. And it was the children's place. She did not exactly have children's place size feet.
So my feet were like this.
Her toes were hanging out.
My toes were hanging out.
Oh my gosh.
And I'm like, what do we do?
I'm just picturing that right now. It's very funny.
It was so crazy. It was so crazy. We had some of the best memories in high school.
Yes.
Remember our senior trip?
Oh my gosh.
We went to Catskills.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. Ski. Did we even ski?
No, I don't think we skied at all.
We did ski.
Mm-mm. I think we were just in the room, like just chilling.
Yeah, and like just hanging out. Mm-hmm. Yeah, that party that they had was so much fun. Hello dance battle, that was awesome.
Our dance battle.
Our dance battle, that was awesome.
Then remember the girl who was skiing?
Yes, unfortunately.
I don't know why I'm doing that. Like, she was skiing.
Yep.
And then she hit her.
She did. She poked herself in
the
eye with
she
the
poked
pole.
herself. Mm-hmm.
Oh my God, I felt so bad.
Yeah, that was terrible.
That made me cry. I felt so bad for her. Oh my gosh.
But Melissa and I also had, how many? 2 falling outs?
Yes.
So
like most friends do.
Yeah, like most friends we had. So I don't remember our first falling out.
I don't either.
I remember the second one.
I don't even know if I remember that.
You were on crutches. Like you were literally like something.
Is that the second one? I feel like that's the first one. Because the second one happened later on.
After high school?
Yeah.
Oh, so then I remember the first falling out.
Okay.
I remember the first falling out.
Yeah.
And back then, like, you didn't have really, like, did we even have No, yeah, you had a cell phone. You had the Motorola.
I had a cell phone.
The Nextel.
I did. Yep.
And Melissa used to get so upset at me because I would have long conversations on her walkie.
Yes. We would just be walking around, walking to the train, and she'd just be having full-blown conversations on the damn walkie-talkie. And I'm like, can you at least pick it up, put it in your ear a little bit? No?
And I was like, no.
Yeah.
So I don't remember why we had the falling out. I just remember we stopped speaking for a long time, probably like a year.
No, it wasn't that long.
It was that long.
Was it?
It felt like, because the summer went by and we still weren't speaking.
Oh,
we spoke after.
Okay, yes, that makes sense. And funny, because I remember Jaylene was like, you guys need to stop this.
So the same person that connected us.
The same person that introduced us is the same person that was like, no, you guys need to stop this right now and you guys need to talk. Mm-hmm. I remember that. Yeah.
What else do you remember from high school?
My gosh. It was
Or what did you really like love about high school?
What did I love about her? I loved, this is going to sound weird, but I loved that you would walk through the halls and everybody would be singing. We used to just hear so many people just singing their butts off. And oh my God, the amount of talent that was in that school was incredible.
Mm-hmm.
Incredible.
Mm-hmm.
And that was, I love that. That was one of my favorite things, hands down.
Me too. Our school was only 3 floors.
Yep.
But I tell people all the time, what's so dope about the school is that you're around creative people. So you get inspired. Absolutely. You see dancers. Yep. You see like musical theater.
Musical theater was
the best major.
Oh my gosh, it really was.
It was the major I wanted to be in.
Yes. Had a little bit of everything, and they were so good.
Mm-hmm.
Those
Remember our Christmas show?
That's what I was just gonna say. Those holiday concerts were so dope. Like, I mean, we know. Again, I'm a music person, right? So anytime that, well, I don't remember her name, but those 2 girls, they would get up there and they would sing, or the ballet dancers would get up there and start dancing. I would just be bawling like a baby because I feel things so deep in my gut that I'm like, oh my God. And I would just be crying hysterical. It was just so beautiful. The talent that was in that school was incredible.
It really was.
It was incredible.
I miss that school.
I do, very much.
I heard we had Jaleesa here on the show, and she was saying that Miss Glover became the principal.
Oh my God. That's awesome.
Yeah.
I love that. That's
you remember
awesome.
Miss Glover, right? The drama.
I mean, she was a drama teacher.
She was a drama teacher.
I didn't have any classes with her, obviously, but I knew who she was. She was very, very well known.
Yeah.
She was very well known in that school. Everybody knew who Miss Glover was.
How difficult was like vocal major? Because like for us, we had to take movement classes. we had to keep a certain like a grade level.
Remember, to be
No.
honest, but the thing was, being a vocal major was really just choir, right? So, I mean, you had your part, either you were a soprano or an alto or a baritone, and you know, that was kind of like where you lived.
Yeah.
It wasn't like there weren't, from what I remember, there weren't like too many solos. And again, there was so much talent that it wasn't like, you know, specific people were kind of known for being able to do those parts, and rightfully so. They deserved it because they were incredibly talented. Not that saying that other people weren't, but I'm just saying, like, that's just kind of what happens. There's superstars everywhere.
Yeah. Did you ever fight for like a part or like no?
You know I didn't.
I have to ask. I have to
I
ask.
didn't. You know I was so shy and like.
How can you be shy and be a vocal major though? Because you say that a lot, and I'm always like, because I get shy as well, but I'm always like, well, you wanted to be a vocal major. You knew you were going to vocal school, like.
Yeah, but I guess it's one thing when you're like in your room singing, and it's a totally different thing when you're around all these talented people and you're like, oh, I have to compete with that.
Yes.
Okay, let me just take a seat here and just let you do your thing, you know? Self-confidence is
major key.
Major.
I'm still working on that.
I'm getting there.
Yeah.
Finally getting there. But
what, so okay. Now let's go to like graduation, because I'm trying to get to like your college years. Okay, so graduation, that was fun. Right?
That was a lot of fun, yeah.
I remember, you know what? I still have the VHS video.
Oh my gosh, do you?
I do.
That's
no, I do.
Awesome.
Yeah, because I remember.
I didn't even know we had one of those.
We did. You can buy it. You were able to purchase it.
I need to see that.
Well, get me a VHS player, and I can show you.
We gotta transfer it to a Blu-ray. Can't you do that? Anyway.
That's too high tech for me, girl. I don't know nothing about tech stuff. I remember walking down is it the aisle? No, we weren't getting married. Well,
it's the same thing.
The line?
The center, it's the aisle. Yeah.
The aisle. I'm like, we weren't getting married.
Yeah, going up onto the stage. There you go.
The stage. And I just remember everybody throwing up the rock sign.
Oh, yes.
When I got up. Because I was such a huge Jay-Z fan. And we used to cut school. Remember that one time we cut school?
Oh, my gosh,
and I was like, I have to see Jay-Z.
To go to TRL.
To go to TRL. Yep. And so during the graduation, like, everybody put up the rock sign. I thought it was such a special moment.
Yep.
In the yearbook, I wrote, you know, the whole Jay-Z line.
Yes.
And then during, like, the college, selecting colleges, I don't know why I thought I was going to get into Juilliard. I don't know why I achieved or was trying to achieve that.
Listen, you got to go for the dream.
But I was reaching that. I went to an audition, and I'm like, no, I'm going to get into Juilliard. Hey. Juilliard's like, not going to happen.
Listen, just because you don't get into Juilliard does not mean you're not good.
'Tis true.
It's like, look, we didn't get into LaGuardia.
We
didn't get into LaGuardia, but what does that mean? You know?
Yeah.
But there was actually someone who had gotten into LaGuardia and chose to come to TU. I don't remember who that was.
Really?
But there was somebody, yes.
I love that.
Or who was in LaGuardia and left LaGuardia to come to TU. Something like that.
Amazing.
Yeah.
That's
there was definitely I don't remember who it was, but there was definitely someone.
And so now when I started selecting colleges, I just said, you know what, I'm going to go to BMCC. What college did you decide you wanted to go to? So, and what was that process like for you?
And it was actually interesting. I went to College of Staten Island first.
Staten Island?
I did. I went to Staten Island first.
So you took the ferry?
No, because remember, where I lived in Brooklyn, Sunset Park is very close to Staten Island. And my brother taught me how to drive. And actually, at first, my brother and I were both going to CSI, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah. So I would go with him, and then he taught me how to drive, so then I would be able to go on my own. And so I would drive, and then sometimes I would take the bus. which was super simple because they literally had a bus that went from where I lived to the school. That was like an express bus. It was like 3
Well,
stops.
that was convenient.
So it was awesome.
Yeah.
Which was one of the reasons why I went there. And it was a beautiful campus. Like, it was such a nice campus. And when you're in New York, there's not a lot of, if you're going to a city university, there's not a lot of schools that kind of resemble, I guess, schools outside of the city, you know? And I kind of wanted that experience a little bit. I wanted
but did
something a
you
little
make the
more.
decision of like, okay, I'm like, did you want to even continue vocal?
No, not at that
So
point.
what happened?
You know, how can I say this? I'm going to go back to with the self-confidence thing. You know, you go to school with so many people who are so talented, you kind of draw yourself back a little bit and you're like, ooh, maybe I'm not good enough, you know? And that's kind of where that kind of just stopped there.
Do you have like any regrets on like not continuing vocal?
Okay. I don't necessarily have regrets on it, but I will say that it makes me see things in my kids differently and makes me want to say, I'm not going to let you give up on something that I know that you're passionate about because I had that experience of going through that.
Okay.
So I learned from that. So I don't necessarily regret it, but it was a learning experience for me.
Okay. Interesting. I feel like this information I'm finding out for the first time, by the way, because I don't think we've ever spoken about this. I knew at one point, you know, you just made the decision, but I never really understood the backstory. Why I felt like maybe she just fell out of love with vocal. I knew music for sure you loved, but maybe you wanted to be behind the scenes. Maybe it wasn't, you know, actually singing in like on stage or anything like that.
Yeah, like that was a huge, like I said, self-confidence is major and I didn't have any of it.
Well, how are you dealing with that now?
Well, my skincare line has really helped me a lot.
What's the name of your skincare line?
JusMia, named after my 2 babies.
Love that. I love that.
And yeah, that's really helped me a lot because for most of my life, up until probably 2 years ago, maybe 3, I was extremely self-conscious. Sorry.
Self-conscious.
Self-conscious, yeah. Okay. And I couldn't put myself out there in any way, shape, or form. And that working on this line helped me to really find myself, you know, realize that I don't need to be perfect. I don't need to be this image of perfection because in reality, we're all people who went through things and are now just learning who we are. Because sometimes people take growing up and they see it, you know, oh, you're supposed to know who you are when you go to college. You're supposed to know who you want to be. But the truth is that comes whenever you're ready. And it sucks because sometimes it takes people a lot longer than others, you know? But when you find yourself, that's when you become confident. Because that's when you realize this is who I am. And all those people I thought I was before, like all those versions of myself, that they weren't true to me. But I didn't know that.
Was there ever a point where you did not, or like a moment in time where you did not love yourself?
Oh, yeah. Absolutely. For a long time. Because because to be honest, I didn't know myself. So how can I love someone I don't know? You know, you feel so disconnected with who you are because you're sitting there and you're like, I'm doing all these things because it's what I'm supposed to be doing.
But who told you? But who told you were supposed to do those things?
That's
was it the world or was it your parents?
It's like, so it's kind of a combination of it all, you know? Like when we grow up, we're expected to do certain things. You know, we're expected to go to school, be successful right away.
There's
and
a fly.
Like I know, it's like right there buzzing in my ear. You're expected to, you know, do certain things. And not saying that any of those things are wrong because obviously the people who are telling you these things, they just want what's best for you. You know? And I understand that and I know that, but sometimes you're pushed in directions that are not meant for you. They're not your path. And that's okay. life is about making mistakes and then finding your way to the right ones. I don't know what's going on with this fly. It really likes me. You
It's
know
all
what I'm
good.
saying? So it's
Yeah.
like it's all about just kind of finding your way and figuring out where you land and where you're your happiest.
So I went through that a lot growing up, and it's weird to hear you say this. And the reason why I say this is because for me, you were always the person in my life that was saying, do this, take that risk. Go, like when my mom was a prime example, right? So I had like a very difficult time in the household. And it got to a point where my mother said, you need to leave. And it was a really, really bad time and a dark time in my life. And I remember calling you and I said, Melissa, my mother's kicking me out. What should I do? And you told me, just leave. Just
I
leave.
mean, so the thing is, you know, in that moment, you're my best friend. So I knew a lot of things that were going on and you weren't happy,
No.
you know, and for someone who loves you to see that, and it's like you're going through all these things and I know that you're scared, but man, just leave and things will work out. And they did, and I'm happy that they did for you. You know, I mean, was it difficult? Of course, but every difficult decision is always going to, you know, there's always going to be things that you have to work through in order to get to a comfortable space. So,
and then I always say, like, it's always easier to advise the next person.
absolutely.
But then when it comes to yourself and it's you versus you, like, how do you make those decisions?
So that's the thing. I always feel like I give the advice.
Yeah, you give the best
that
advice.
I wish
Someone
people would
gave
give me. You know, I wish someone would just be like, just listen. You know.
But who did you like? Were you able to speak to your brother at that time? What, like, I'm just.
So no, not really. You know, I never really felt very comfortable sharing a lot of things. Like, I'm very guarded. I'm very, you know, I guard my heart and I guard my mental space, I guess. Because again, not everyone understands you. People see things and they, you know, they have an idea of what they think you should do. But if they don't understand who you are and if they don't understand what's in your heart, it's very difficult for you to take that advice. It's kind of like you only take the advice you want to hear, right? That's what it is. But in reality, the reason why you only take the advice you want to hear is because it has to speak to you. It has to speak to who you are and it has to make sense for you. Someone can't go out there and tell you, hey, Alex, you should go and, you know, be a rapper.
Yeah.
No one's going to say that to you because that's not in your heart. That's not, okay, yeah, you know someone who can, you know, you could be the next #1 artist tomorrow. Okay, but that's not in my heart. Like, so what? For me, it's not about, you know, oh, I would just want to make the most money. Like, that's not what it is for me. Like, for me, I've always wanted to like make a difference and change things. So a lot of people don't understand that. And it's difficult to have conversations with people who don't understand who you are.
What were some of the things you wanted to change? Was it about yourself or was it about your environment? Like, what needed to change?
No, I really just mean like in life. Like, I want to do things and make a change in like life, like in the world. Like, I don't want to be in one space forever, you know? And that's really difficult, especially when you're so lost for so long. But I feel like I'm finally finding who I am and I'm finally finding my place, and feeling a little more comfortable sharing that. And I think that so many people are broken and don't even know that they're broken and don't know how to express it. And I feel like that is something that I'm going through or have gone through so much of that I really feel like I want to help people realize that there's so much more than their broken pieces.
Right.
Like, you
Beautiful.
need to look deep inside and say, what makes me happy?
But that's such a difficult question. It's like even the
It
question of who
is.
are you?
Correct.
Like people don't know how to
But
answer that question.
because they're broken.
Yeah.
And they don't know because they've been living so long being who they thought they were supposed to be, whether it's by society, whether it's by family, whether it's because, perfect example, my husband loves Jordans right now. And every time he's always like, oh, these Jordans are so dope. I'm going to buy them for you. And I'm like, no, I'm a tomboy, but I'm like a comfortable tomboy.
Yeah.
Like I like my,
Yeah.
And it's not that I don't like Jordans. And like you just
Yeah.
said before, I used to have them all in
the
every
time.
color. And it's not that I don't like them. It's not like I'm like, oh my God, they're ugly or whatever. No, they're Jordans. Come on, but they're not for everyone. And that's okay.
Correct. Yeah.
But what happens is sometimes people just kind of go with the flow instead of going with who they are. Like you were very, I'm not a Jordan girl.
No,
I
never.
wear shoes all the time. And I thought that was so dope. And that was one of the reasons why I connected with you so much, because you were authentic. You were you, and you didn't care what anybody thought.
No.
Well, in that sense. No, I mean like in that sense. No, because internally it's different.
Yeah.
But on the outside, it's like you didn't care. You're like, I don't want to wear those sneakers.
Yeah, no, I was.
And in our school, there was a lot of sneakerheads.
Yeah.
But you weren't going with that. You were going with you. You were going with what felt good to you, with what made you feel good.
Yeah.
And you didn't care.
But it's also like you can also outgrow an older version of yourself.
Absolutely.
Because I feel like I went through that at so many like different points in my life where it was like, okay, I am now going to change my style to this. And it's not from one day to the next. It's like you gradually say, okay, this no longer serves me.
Yes. Which is what I'm saying. Like I went through the whole Jordan phase, and I loved wearing those sneakers. And let me tell you, I have wide feet, okay? And Jordans are not the most comfortable sneakers for me.
No.
And I would wear them anyway because I loved them. They were cool. But I grew out of that. But I feel like as time went on, I kind of was like still in that phase because that's what was the thing. But that wasn't me. And I didn't know how to express me.
So so now that's interesting. What does that feel like? Is that like an uncomfortable situation where it's so uncomfortable that you have to say, I need to make a change internally? Like, what is that like?
Right. So, yes. The short answer is yes, because, you go through so many things, so many times or whatever, where you're like, okay, I'm going to wear these because they're cool.
Right.
But, okay, they're cool, but does it work for you? Does it, so it's a battle of, and this goes for anything,
yeah,
right?
Because it's not just Jordans.
Right, it's not just Jordans. I'm just using that as like an example. So, like, let's switch it to, again, skincare. Like, some people love to wear makeup. And there was a point where I did. And then now I don't. Yeah, okay, I wear a little blush, a little mascara, but I don't wear makeup. And it doesn't mean that there's anything wrong with people who do, or there was anything wrong with when I did. No, it's just I realized that wasn't me.
Yeah.
Like it wasn't me because I was trying to I have very, very dark eyes. We know that,
me
like
too. Like,
but I have, it's hereditary for me.
Yeah.
My grandmother, my dad, my brother, like we all have very dark eyes. Like I call them the raccoon eyes, and I learned that it's okay. So what? Who cares? It is what it is. That's me. This is me. And
so I have a two-part question for you.
Okay.
So I want you to just digest this.
Okay.
One, who were you before marriage? And then two, how has marriage changed your life?
Question.
That's why I said digest it
or
take a shot. I don't know.
That's a loaded question.
And her husband is in the building, by the way.
He's in the building.
He is in the building.
But I think more importantly, we've been together for so long.
So wait, when did you meet him?
2006. Why was I about to? I'm like, wait, we've been together 16 years. Hold on. Okay, yeah.
2006.
So 2006.
So where were you in your life during 2006? What was 2006 for you?
I was in college.
Okay.
And I feel like I can't remember where I was working at the time, but I know I was working. I wasn't working. Okay, I wasn't working, apparently.
You said
no. Apparently, I wasn't working. But I was in college at the time.
Mm-hmm.
And I really don't even know, like, internally where I was. I really can't answer that question. I don't know.
But where did you meet? Because you guys weren't in the same school.
Oh, we were not in the same school.
Right.
We met through a mutual friend.
Okay.
So my friend was dating his best friend at the time.
Right.
And she wanted me to meet her boyfriend.
Mm-hmm.
Of course, he's not going to come alone.
Mm-hmm.
So he came with his friend. And that was fun.
Okay.
That was interesting. That was an interesting day there. And then we didn't talk. I didn't see him again for about 4 months, I think, or something like that.
So no exchanging of numbers?
There was no exchanging of numbers.
So you met that one time?
We met that one time. It was a one-off. And then she was like, oh, come hang out with me again. You know, it was like 4 months later. I'm like, okay, fine. You know?
Right.
And that was when he asked for my number and all that stuff, which...
Oh, did he write it down on like a paper or something?
No, we had phones. We had cell phones.
Yeah, no, I'm taking it way back, like ancient times. Okay, fine.
Yeah, we had cell phones.
Who called who first?
I called him first.
Ooh.
I did.
My friend
made me. She was like, just call him. And you know me, I'm very self-conscious. So I'm like, no, I'm not going to call him. She's like, no, call him.
And then what do you say when you call him?
I know. I'm like,
hi, I'm Melissa.
This is Melissa. And yeah, it was weird.
What'd you have for lunch today? Like,
right.
Like,
it was very weird. You know, I think because he worked so much, he had like 3 jobs at the time.
Yeah, I remember.
So I think because he worked so much, I think he was like, oh, hey, all right, let me call you back in a little while when I have free time.
Did you
and I'm
feel like he's never going to call?
Probably.
Okay.
Because that was, of course, the first thing that went to my mind all the time.
Of
course. But then he did, and we've never had a day where we didn't speak since then.
You remember your first date?
You know, back then, it's so weird because when you have your first date, you're more like just chilling.
Yeah.
So you're just like hanging out. You're not really going anywhere.
Going to like a restaurant.
You're not going. I mean,
we
probably went to Caridad. Maybe that's what we went. Maybe that's where we went or something.
Spot.
It is. That's probably where we went.
That's a
and probably the movies or what's that? The Hill in Dykeman.
What's the Hill in Dykeman?
Where they used to. Anyway,
I'm just saying,
what's that called? I don't know what that's called. But anyway, there's like a park area where they like park and it's a car meet. Yeah.
Okay.
So his friend used to have a car. And used to be in like a car club, so we would like hang out with him and my friend a lot. We did a lot of double dating. Mm-hmm. So, yeah, that was what we used to do.
So you weren't even looking for anyone?
No.
This was just like, okay, let's just meet. Then we're chilling. All of a sudden, where do you fall in love? How does that happen? I'm getting deep right now.
Yeah, he was.
Because I've never really asked these questions.
Yeah,
by the way.
So he was very, very persistent. But not in a aggressive way, but just like he knew so again, you knew me before him, right? Mm-hmm. So, you know, I never had been in a relationship really.
Right.
So he knew that. So when I was like, nah, I'm done. Like, no, you're not. Like, what you mean? What you mean, no, I'm not? I just said I'm done. He's like, no, you're not. I'm like, okay.
So we're in this together.
So we're in this now.
That's it.
We're in this, like,
you're
for
my
real,
forever
for real.
plus one.
Okay, all right. And so, you know, I loved him for that very much because he didn't give up on me. And in that moment, I needed that. And I'm happy he didn't give up on me because I love him. I'm just saying.
I know.
He's been very, very, very big in my growth. So
yeah. In what ways would you say?
Again, not having any confidence, having someone on your side all the time is major.
You won't make me cry.
I'm sorry.
Where's the damn napkin? Here.
I'm good.
I know. He said it too. He said, get a napkin. You guys are going to cry.
I'm good.
I'm
I thought we cried for other reasons, but yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
We didn't get there yet.
I know, my God. Okay.
You know what? That's very special because there's, especially in New York, it's like hard dating, right? You can't even find anyone here.
I really can't even say because I feel like I never really dated.
Yeah. Well, it's hard. I'm here to tell you it's very difficult. It's very difficult to find someone here in New York.
Yeah.
And then you guys get married in Florida.
In Florida.
And I remember because that was the first time I went to Disney. Is it Disneyland or Disney World?
I don't know.
I don't know the difference.
One to ask.
But I went to Disney.
Yeah. Oh, I didn't even know that.
Yeah, I went to Disney. And I always feel like you can.
So awesome.
Yeah, you appreciate Disney as an adult. I always say you got to go. If you take your kids, you got to go back as an adult.
You know, everyone that I've met now that we live there, all like the moms and stuff, they're always like, you have to go without the kids.
Yeah,
no, you do. So much fun.
So much fun. Well, I got in trouble there.
Oh, wait, I do remember now. You did get in trouble.
I got in trouble.
Okay.
I wore like a little, like a crop top. I thought that was okay. Crop top and just pants. And they were
Disney,
ma'am,
you know,
please go to the gift shop immediately and get yourself a Mickey Mouse shirt.
Oh my God.
And then you can enter. But your wedding was absolutely beautiful.
Oh, thank you.
Very heartfelt. I felt the love in that room. And then now the interesting part is you guys get married, go back to Brooklyn, and then go back to Florida. Now you live in Florida.
Now we live in Florida.
Like a full circle moment.
I know, it's crazy.
First of all, I was like sad when you like left New York. I'm like, why is she leaving New York? Why did you leave New York? What was it?
I've always wanted to move out of New York.
Yeah.
The traffic and everything just gives me so much anxiety.
Yeah.
And especially having kids, man, it's hard. I give it up for all the moms out there just thugging it out, but that is not me, man. Walking up those, waiting for a parking for an hour and a half to walk in the house with 2 babies and groceries and all this stuff, like that's just,
it's like the hustle and bustle of New York.
It really is. Yeah. It really is, you know, and I also have a lot of family in Florida, so I spent a lot of time in Florida as a kid. So honestly, it was always like a place that I wanted to go, but I think it was more because that's the only other place I really knew. So it was always a place that I wanted to end up in. And I'm happy I did. I mean, I love where we live. It is a beautiful community. The schools are great because
well, that's Florida what I was going to ask you, like the environment. Like, what is that like for you?
You know what's weird is that it's not where I live, specifically in Orlando. It's not that, I mean, it's different from New York. But as far as like the people, there are so many different cultures there. It's crazy. Right. Like, the school is so diverse, and that is big for us. Like, we didn't want a school that was not true to that because, you know, we're used to diversity. We're used to, you know, all that. So that was huge for us. Getting into an area that had good schools was number one.
So you don't miss New York?
Not really. I mean, I've been here a couple days, and we're already like, okay.
Like, I gotta go.
I mean, don't get me wrong. The cold is nice. Like, it doesn't even feel as cold. I say this. It doesn't feel as cold as it did when I lived here, as it does right now. Maybe that's because it's not freezing yet. But this really.
I know. I'm looking at it. I'm like, you know what I always say about you? You genuinely love to be a mom. Like, you love, and don't get me wrong, there's people that like get stressed out because like motherhood is just like stressful in itself.
It's crazy.
But it's like something you've always wanted was to be a mom and have kids, and you have like the perfect like little girl, little boy. By the way, they look just like you and Kiko. It's so crazy.
People say that all the time.
It's bizarre.
Yeah.
Like, it's literally like the little version of you and him.
Yeah.
But you just like genuinely enjoy it, and you give your kids everything, and you like talk about that, like being a mom.
Being a mom changes your life, man. There is, I mean, as much as I love my husband, there is nothing like the purest love of a child.
Yeah.
The purest love of a child, because they see nothing other than love when they look at you. They don't see you when you take away their toys. They don't see, it doesn't matter to them. It's just pure love always.
How much of the culture, like your husband's Dominican, you're Puerto Rican. How much
Mm.
of that culture is like infused into their lifestyle?
Funny is that my mom just sent me a video earlier today of my kids dancing bachata.
Oh, yeah.
Yes, and doing a dip. It was very, very
Was
cute. Yeah,
it?
very, very cute. They've been practicing it for a long time. So, I mean, we
Mhm.
listen to a lot of like bachata, merengue, a lot
Mhm.
of salsa in the house and stuff. And again, my husband, who is fluent in Spanish,
Super fluent.
does
Super
not
fluent.
speak a lick of Spanish to these kids, which
Mhm.
bothers me so much. But I try very hard to like I said before, my little words that I know here and there, you know?
Mhm.
And so they pick up on it and they kind of know, and their grandpa, my dad, talks to them a lot in Spanish as well. But we eat a lot of Spanish food. A lot of
Mhm.
Spanish food. We do, you know, I make them arroz con gandules all the time. At least, well, it used to be like once a week. Now we've gotten a little busy, so we've kind of dialed it back a little. But we eat a lot of Spanish food, and I mean, I feel like it's kind of like when we were growing up.
Do they
When
learn
he's
Spanish in school?
not yet.
Okay.
I don't know if
Because I don't know if
maybe,
that's like a
yeah,
thing
I don't,
nowadays where you still kind of
yeah,
get the bilingual courses or.
right. I don't know if maybe when they get to middle school, they will, which I hope so.
Mhm.
But I also feel like you need to learn it when you're young. It's very difficult. Like I tried
It's like
to
learning
learn,
French right now.
correct.
Like it's
We took Spanish in high school. I
we
took
did,
Spanish in
yeah.
college. Let me tell you, I passed with flying colors. I
Yeah,
could write it.
but you learned the vosotros,
Right,
the
and I don't understand. That confuses the heck out of me.
I don't know
I can't
any
do it.
yeah.
Yeah, I can't do it. I mean, but if you're like, hey, write this down for me, no problem. I'll write it down for you and it'll be correct. But ask me to have a full blown conversation, not gonna happen.
It's not gonna
My
happen.
grandmother was the one person who used to speak Spanish to
All
me,
the
and I
time.
would look at her and be like, "What are you
Huh?
saying? What are you saying?" And she would have to slow it down. She'd be like, "Hi, Melissa," and she would then try to say it in English as best as she could. Um, but she was really the only person that I had that was like, oh, and my mother-in-law
That's what I was just about to say.
does not
She does not speak
speak
Spanish.
English.
I mean
Speak
English,
English.
sorry. She does not speak English at all. Like
No.
how difficult is that to even
You
communicate
know,
and
it's so weird because as much as she does not speak English and as much as I don't speak Spanish, we try, and there's something about her and I that we don't even need to say anything.
but you guys
But
understand
there's so much love there.
it.
Like, we go there and she doesn't even say hello to her son. It's like, Melissa! And
Mm-hmm.
she gives me a huge hug and I love it. I love it. Like, it's so weird. And I say it all the time. I'm like, tell your mom I said this. Tell your mom I said that. You know? And she'll make me like arroz con leche. She'll make me like a whole pot of arroz con leche and we'll take it home. I'll have it for like a week.
Mm-hmm.
Love it. She just, yeah.
So I always say as well, like, in addition to you being married, right? So you are a full-time wife, a full-time mother, and then you started a business.
I did.
How the hell do you just like,
Wow.
how do you make this work for yourself?
It was a lot more difficult back in the day when I
Mhm.
first started it, which was about like 5 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
It was just a hobby then. It was just something I truly loved and had passion doing.
Mm-hmm.
And I would do it on my spare time, like after the kids would go to sleep, you know? And then as time went on, and now that we, like I said, now live in Florida and stuff like that, I try to work on it as much as possible when the kids are in school.
Mm-hmm.
Because that's really the only free time I have. Because once the kids come home, you know, there's activities and things like that. But again, my husband is super supportive
Mm-hmm.
in that. So a lot of the things that typically the wife would be doing, he
Mhm.
takes on that role in the sense of he is a clean freak. So he cleans all day, every day,
Mm-hmm.
and he's the better cook. So it works out in that
Perfect.
sense. It works out
Great
really
setup.
well. Because then I'm able to do what I need to do
Mm-hmm.
and work on my stuff. So it's hard.
The
It's very
balance.
hard. The balance is really difficult, but with him, he makes it a little bearable, you know?
So you do everything on your own, right? Social
Everything.
media, you curate the products.
Make them by hand.
You
Yes.
make them by hand.
By hand. Every single one. Label them by hand.
Wow. Wow. What has been the most difficult part about being an entrepreneur?
Getting to a point where you understand your mission in your heart. Because again, we've spoke about this before. There's times where, you're doing things because you're like, this is what I'm supposed to be doing in order to get where I want to go. But it doesn't follow your mission and it's not true to who you are. So I think the most difficult time for me has been figuring out what it is that I'm trying to share with people and what I want them to feel when they're using my products. Because there's so many skincare lines out there, especially natural nowadays, especially. But, finding skincare products that work, they're a dime a dozen, right? But finding ones that truly make you feel good, that's a totally different story. And that's what I want people to feel when they use my product. And that was probably the most difficult thing for me to figure that out.
Right.
Like, it's not about giving people this body butter in 30 different scents. It's about giving them the most luxurious body butter that you will ever try. Because when you put it on, I want you to feel like I'm important. I'm special and I deserve to feel this moment with myself right now.
Yeah. Skincare is so super important.
Self-care.
Self-care, period.
In any way,
You're
shape,
right about
or
that.
form.
Yeah, self-care.
It doesn't matter what it is. It could be painting. It could be anything. If shopping is what makes you feel good, if that's your self-care,
then do
it.
Do it.
Do it.
And I always say, like, even if you don't have money, it's just a little extra effort. Like, you can literally go to CVS and buy, like, a mask and put it on.
Correct.
I
mean, yes, you can do that.
You can.
But just be
if
careful.
You don't have the funds,
no, but if it makes you feel good, I mean, go for it.
Yeah.
By all means, it's just do what makes you feel good. If dancing is what makes you feel good, do it. If meditation makes you feel good, do it. But make time for what makes you feel good. That's what's important because we lose sight of that.
Absolutely.
We lose sight of that with our busy lives and, just trying to be successful and trying to do things, trying to do too much at one time. You lose sight of all of that. But that's what it's about. It's about making yourself happy. And the truth is only you can do that. You cannot look for someone else to give that to you because, again, as amazing as my husband is and as wonderful as he is, if I'm not happy with myself, there was nothing he could do to change that. And that was something that took a lot of work to realize, and I'm happy that I'm finally at that point where I can say, yeah, you know what? I'm going to go and I'm going to take my 10 to 15 minutes in the bathroom and I'm going to do my skincare or I'm going to take my bath or I'm going to go upstairs and I'm going to read a book. Whatever it is that I feel like I need that day, I'm going to do it. Yeah. It's like
a part of your mental health.
It really is.
It's a part of your mental health.
No, it really is. Like it's so important to really focus on what makes you happy and what makes you feel good because there are so many things out there, especially with social media. You see so much stuff and you want to do it all and all this stuff, but is it really making you feel good at the end of the day? Like, just make time for the things that make you feel like, this is for me. This is my moment right now.
Talk a little bit about your line and, what products you have. I know you bought some today, and I want to just take an opportunity to highlight JusMia.
So I have some body butters and some body scrubs and a body oil, which
I love the body oil. That's one of my faves.
Body oil. It's so beautiful. And I use all natural ingredients, very high quality, ingredients that I use. Some of them smell so amazing on their own that there's really no need for even essential oils or any sort of fragrance at all. Don't use natural fragrances because I just don't feel like there's a reason to, and I want to keep them as healthy and as safe as possible for your body because like I said, I I want you to want to use them and not second guess it.
Right.
Not feel like, oh, wait, I shouldn't be putting this on my body, because especially with all the things that we're learning nowadays. So yeah, I have two body butters, which I don't have the other one here, but that's okay.
But
Body
they will
scrub.
be available. We'll leave the
Yes.
link online for
Yes.
people to shop and buy.
Yes. And then I also have a facial toner, which is rose water based.
Yes.
Such a beautiful, it's my number one product of all of them. And I also have my 2 face oils, which one is for acne prone skin and normal skin, and the other one is for more dry and oily too, because it's made, that's your favorite.
Yeah.
Hydrate, which so many people love that one because it really helps to balance the oils in your skin. So whether you're super oily or you're super dry, it's a perfect.
Yeah, and it doesn't leave your face oily or anything like that.
That was one of my main things with all of my products. I want them to just be, like I said, easy, where you don't have to sit there and wait 15 minutes for them to dry. Like my body butters, they go on, and I mean, all body butters are a little bit greasy, but we use something in there that allows them to kind of not leave that super greasy film on your body, because again, I want you to feel good when you're using them, and I want you to love that moment. So,
what are some of the things that you have coming up with the line, and how are you looking to expand it?
I am working on a couple of new products. We actually just released a cacao hydrating mask.
Nice.
Which is, oh my God, I've been working on that for, I think, almost 2 years now. And it is a beautiful powder mask. And it only has 5 ingredients. It's a really beautiful mask. It really helps to hydrate the skin, especially in the colder months. It's amazing. And then I also have another product that I've been working on for, again, about 2 years, which is a cleansing oil. And that one I think should be coming out sometime in January, maybe for Valentine's Day. I haven't decided
the
exact date yet. But that one it's a really, really amazing product because it has such beautiful ingredients in it that just nourish the skin, leave your skin super. Cleansing your face is probably the most important step in a skincare routine.
1000%.
And so many people don't know that when you use something that actually has foam, it's actually stripping your oils more than it's doing. So it's doing more damage than good to your skin.
Right.
And so cleansing oils and balms have been very big lately, but for good reason. They really help to protect your skin and keep your skin barrier in place. And so that was something that, for me, having a skincare line, I used a lot of cleansing oils because that's what I am drawn to, and that's what I like. So I wanted to create one that was just as beautiful as some of the other ones that I've used. And I think I did it, and I'm very happy about that one. I'm very proud of that product.
So we actually, and I told you I was going to bring this up, we actually collaborated.
Yeah.
So we did a collaboration.
We did.
And that was a different experience.
It was.
Friends, best friends, doing business together. It was like a up and down.
Because we have 2 different personalities.
Definitely.
You're more of a, I'm going to go for it. I'm a go-getter. We're going hard
I'm
at this.
I'm going to start right now.
Yeah.
Even if I don't see the staircase, I see 2 steps and I'm still walking up.
Correct.
Yes.
And me, I'm more of the, let's take our time. Let's get it right. Yeah. Like I said, some of these products I've been working on them for 2 years. And I'm not typically oh, look, this is great, let's just put it out type of person. But you like to rush things a little bit, which is fine.
It's something that I'm
very
working on.
Go.
Yeah.
Which is fine. And
even
that's
my team tells me that. They're like, it's almost like you're running and we have to be like, let me grab her.
Yes.
And they can't grab me because I'm already down
like one
the
of
block.
those kids with the leashes.
I need a leash. I need a leash.
Yeah.
Can you talk about, I know this may be like a little uncomfortable, but some of the most difficult parts in doing business with friends?
Difference of opinions.
Yes.
Difference of opinions
for sure.
Is
Difference
huge.
of, yeah.
Yeah. So, when we collabed was in the time where I was kind of transitioning from my old label packaging and my little Etsy store and having my own site and changing to these beautiful black jars.
I love them.
So, thank you. And so I kind of wanted to wait because I was like, I think it would be really dope if we did it once the rebrand launched. And you were just like, no, we're going to go. So I felt like it was hard. It's hard because you have that difference of opinion in a sense where it's like, I want to wait until this is so good. And you were just like, no, we going to just roll with it. Okay.
Because I have this problem where I just, I don't know. It's weird because I feel like I'm here today. I'm living for today. I don't know what's going to happen tomorrow.
And I love that.
What if something happens to me that I never got to collab with my best friend? We had this amazing opportunity. And that's where I always kind of like, because I will say that I will take accountability for that. That is like one of the things that I'm still trying to work on is like trying to slow it down and really think about, okay, what is the next step for me or just in projects in general.
Yeah, but you know what though? That's something that so many people struggle with. Like we hear that saying all the time. Slow and steady
wins the race.
Steady wins the race. But we have such a difficult time understanding that concept and following through with that concept.
Right.
You know, we learned that in freaking, elementary school. But yeah, like my kids do it all the time. They're just like rushing to do things, and I'm like, can you just?
I feel like that's the New York mentality in me.
It is. The hustle
it's like you
and
rush
bustle.
to the train, you rush to the bus, you rush to go to work.
See, and that's why I think I belonged in Florida all this time.
Yeah.
Because I'm very like, I mean, don't get me wrong. When I was here, it was different. But in that sense of it, it's like I'd rather take my time and make sure that it's good, exactly how I want it, rather than rushing into it and then it not being
the way you want it to be.
Yeah,
So here's a fun fact with me and Melissa. So Melissa and I, when back in the day when name belts were a thing, when name belts were a thing, I wanted to have a name belt so bad.
Yes.
But my real name is Alexandra, so I felt like it was going to go from here to here.
Yes.
And so I said, I really want to have a name belt. How do we shorten my name? And she's like, well, your sister calls you Alyi. I call you Alyi. And I'm like, how do you spell Alyi?
Yeah.
And we took like the entire lunch period to spell out Alyi. It was like A-L-Y, A-L-Y-I, A-L-L-I.
Yep.
And then
A-L-L-E-Y.
A-L-L-E-Y. And then, fun fact, Melissa and I settled for A-L-Y-I. So a lot of people ask me, why is Alyi spelled A-L-Y-I?
And we went to Times Square and got you a belt.
And we got a belt.
Yep.
We got a belt. And I remember that stupid tattoo that I had. It was that same night. You remember that?
Oh, yes. That was so big. It was the same. It said Alyi, didn't it?
It said Alyi.
Mad.
No, it didn't. No, it didn't. No, it didn't. It said Alizé.
Oh, yes. That's
Alizé.
Right. I don't even think we were legal to drink then.
It said Alizé, and my mom flipped. And I remember because we wore Kangos. Remember Kangos were like...
Kangos they were dope.
Come on now.
Yep. With two little braids. The Kangos, yeah.
Yeah. So I just wanted to give like that little tidbit because a lot of people do ask me, why is your name spelled A-L-Y-I?
We took a lot of time to figure that out.
Come on now.
I remember we were with the paper just spelling it all out.
Like process of elimination. And I'm like, what if it's algae? Alyi.
Yeah.
But so I won't change it for anyone who's asking. People ask me all the time, like, just change the spelling. I'm like, no, sentimental value right there. So I'm never gonna change the way I spell my name. So thank you, Melissa, for that.
You're very welcome.
So what is next for you, Melissa? So now you're in Florida, you're with the kids, you have this amazing family, amazing marriage. And I'm sure everything goes through its up and downs because motherhood is difficult, marriage, is difficult, even down to the business. But what are some of the next things that you would like to see happen for yourself, and what are you working towards?
Ooh, that is a good question. I mean, I would like to expand my business.
Yeah.
I'm really hoping to be able to get it in more people's hands. Because, like I said, nowadays there's so many people trying to start small natural skincare lines. It's very hard to kind of pinpoint who works for you and who doesn't, like, who serves you is the right way to say it. Like who really speaks your language.
Right.
And So I would like to get it into more people's hands, expand on that. And my goal is to help women, but really anybody, really just find themselves again. Just find that love for themselves again and remember who they are. And that doesn't even mean remember who you were. It just means remember who you are.
I feel like you should do like talk sessions. I feel like you'll be
my
really...
husband and I have been talking about doing like talking sessions on like Instagram and stuff because we have such deep conversations. And
Yo, Wind Down Wednesdays would be for you guys.
Yeah.
Legit, like I would actually tune in and just be like, yes, talk to me. I love that. Yeah, that'd be really dope. Okay, so expanding the line.
Expanding the line. I would like to see if we can partner with some stores, maybe something. Hopefully, we'll see.
Put it out in the universe.
Yes, always putting it out in the universe. Yeah, and just continuing to give my all. To this line because it really does speak to who I am and again what I want to share. I want to make people feel special and beautiful and loved by themselves, not from anywhere else, but just you.
Yeah.
You know, because we often get so caught up looking for it in other places, but we forget about us.
It all goes back.
Especially us moms, you know, like that's really hard when you have kids and trying to make time for yourself is extremely difficult. But it's also so important because if you don't fill your own cup, you don't have a cup to pour from. And your kids deserve that cup to be filled every day. They really do because they deserve the best parts of you. Because at the end of the day, they go by environment, you know, and they learn by environment. You got to make sure you're giving them that positive, beautiful environment that they deserve.
You know, Melissa, you always say that you're shy, but you say the most like powerful things. Like, you know, throughout this entire time you've been speaking, like there's so many like gems that you dropped during this time right now.
Thank you.
Yes, no, you gotta definitely like, you know, I know it's uncomfortable and I'm glad that you did this today because I know this was like completely stepping out of your comfort zone.
Yes, very much.
But we want to hear from you more. So tell people where they can tune into you. Tell them your Instagram and, you know, where they can buy your products from.
Okay, so our website is www.jusmia.com. And on Instagram, it is JusMia Shop. JusMia. Let me make sure I say that. So it's just JusMia. Shop for Instagram and then JusMia.com.
2 more rapid fire questions and then I know I just gotta like throw it in there. 2 more. Okay. Tell me you're Latina without telling me you're Latina.
Got hit with a chancleta right here.
Oh, Jesus Christ. Okay, and finish this sentence. Growing up Latina is
powerful.
We're gonna leave it right there. Thank you so much to Melissa.
Thank you.
Make sure you guys buy her product, JusMia. Follow her on Instagram, and thank you so much for doing this interview today. Thanks for coming on the show.
Me. I love you.
I love you too.